Hi, everyone. I'm Paul with MadCap Software. I'm going to talk to you today about dropdowns, a feature that's been in Flare for a really long time. A lot of people like them. A lot of people use them. They allow you to have certain chunks of content that expand or collapse when people click a hotspot in them. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to show you how to create these. I'm going to show you how to edit them, get them to look the way that you want, and then I'll finish up with some different things to consider if you decide to use drop downs in your project. Now, outputs. This particular feature is supported in most of Flare's online outputs. Of course, HTML5, the most popular output format, and there are several others that support it as well. Not all of them support it. Clean XHTML strips out all the MadCap tags, so you're not going to get it in there. But most of them, you're going to be able to use this. Now, when you create a brand new project in Flare, there are these project templates, and a lot of them they're just really bare bones, just minimal content. There are a couple of project templates that have to do with e-learning, where there's actually an example of drop downs in there. So I'm going to actually go in and show you really quickly before we get to creating these to show you just kind of what I'm talking about. So here's a little project based on one of those e-learning templates. And I opened up this topic right here, drop downs, and you can see this is how it looks in the editor. So you get these sections where you've got these things called hotspots, which is what people are going to click. And then the stuff that's underneath those, in this case, a few paragraphs, that's what's going to show or hide depending on what users do. And there's a second one down here. Now, real quickly to show you how this looks and works in the output, this is that same topic in HTML5 output. And you can see, all right, it's got these heads in here, these headings, and little images next to them that let you know, oh, there's some more stuff under here if you click the plus sign. So you click that, all right, it expands it. The image turns to the minus sign and click that. Same thing on this one. Very, very simple idea in here. Now, there are actually a couple of other features that are similar. They're sort of like cousins of drop downs. And if you go into the insert ribbon, you can see them all kind of grouped here together. There's the drop down one, which we're going to look at. There's also togglers. So a lot of people like togglers, and a big difference between drop downs and togglers is togglers, you still have a hotspot and you still have content that opens or is shown or hidden when you click it, but that content can be anywhere. Whereas with drop downs, it's the headings at the top, and then whatever you determine is below it is part of that drop down. That's it. But togglers are just kind of there. You can open content all over in your topic, whether it's above or below that hotspot. And then there's expanding text, and that is when you have content in line and you want one part of that text, one part of that paragraph or sentence to be the hotspot, and it shows or hides the rest of the sentence or paragraph when people click it. So just want to make you aware that this is where I'm talking about drop downs, but there are a couple of other things that you might want to explore if you're interested in this. Okay. Now, let's begin in the next section. Let's take a look at how these are created. And again, this is a project that's already styled. It's already got a look and feel to it. Things are in place. I'm going to start with just an empty project so we can look at how this is created from scratch. Now let's go into the very simple project that I just created, and let's create brand new dropdown. So just got the one topic in here in this project, and you can see it's just got minimal text. And I just wrote this thinking, okay, this could be my drop-down head, and maybe I want these things to be part of the body. In fact, let me just press enter here and just type a little bit of nonsense, just so you know that, so you can see that it's going to just be this section that we're going to deal with here. And so the text above, the text below aren't going to be part of that drop-down. So what I can do exactly is just select that content, just like I have it there. Go to the insert ribbon, select drop down. There it is. Now that one looks a lot different from the one that I just showed you in the other project. That's because this is the default style, the look and feel of this, which we are going to change in the next section. Now, you could also just get on a blank line and click drop down text, and it'll put in placeholder text for you. So you could start that way and just start typing. All right. I am going to undo that. Now, this part right here, the default style shows this as green and italic, so you can easily see, oh, that's my hotspot. That's the part that people are going to click in order to show or hide these things underneath it. But you can specify certain things in the head in this row here to be the hotspot. It doesn't have to be all the text. So let's say I just wanted the words drop down to be the hotspot. So I go back up to this drop down text thing right here, click the arrow and just select drop down hotspot. And you can see, all right, so now that's the only part that's green and italicized, has that style because that's what the hotspot is. And you can see the other text on the other side isn't going to be part of that. If I undo this, another way to do this, besides just clicking that, selecting text and clicking that button, you could get your cursor using my arrow keys here outside of that bracket, and I could type text right there. And so that's just adding additional text. It does the same thing, but you probably want to use that this feature right here. It's just probably a little easier to do it. Okay, so we've got that. We've got our hotspot in here. A couple other things about creating these is, so what can be part of this hotspot? Well, usually it's just plain text, but you could have something like, you could have a variable in here. I'm going to type space here and see if I've got any variables in this. Yeah, I've got some, and I can just expand this. And this doesn't make any sense to put the company name in here, but I'm going to drag this variable over, and you can see that, all right, a variable can be part of this. And an image, if you have a little image, you could insert that in there too. So it's not just text that can be part of the hotspot. It's other things too. I'm going to undo that. So this will just make more sense. And then the body, pretty much anything can be in the body. I mean, I could press enter here, and I don't know what I've got in here as far as, I don't even have any images in here yet. We'll be adding some, but I could add an image, video, slideshow, all kinds of stuff could be in the body, just like any other content. So that's how simple it is to create one of these things. What we're going to do next is we're going to look at how to edit it, how to change the look, because you probably want you probably want the hotspot to look different. You might want the body to look different. You might want margins, borders, all kinds of things. You might want to change the default image. Remember in the last one I showed you, I'm going to actually build this really quickly. In that output that I showed you for the other project, you had that plus and minus button. Well, those are just part of that template. You can see in here, it's just this default little arrow thing. And so you might want to change the look and feel so it's got your own, button next to it, different colors, whatever. And so that is what we're going to look at next. That's the wrong project. There we go. I'm actually going to I'm going to undo this more because I'm just going to have this whole thing as the drop-down head. That might be easier to show things as we go into the next section where we're going to edit the drop-down using styles. Let's take a look at the different pieces of a drop-down, because there's actually multiple tags that are just kind of combining to make this up. And then how you can use your style sheet to edit styles that correlate with those tags to control the look and feel. Now, in my topic, you can see I've got my structure bars open here on the left. If you don't see them, you're clicking this button right here to open those. This one opens them up at the top because we are going to see one at the top. So right now my cursor is just on this paragraph right here. If I click down here, let's say on my hotspot, all right, so let's look at the different pieces of this drop down. So over on the left, the structure bars, and if you hover, it's the text is very small on those bars, so you can't really read that very well. But if you hover over it, it makes it a little easier. You can see MadCap dropdown. That is the outer tag. That's what's holding everything inside of it. So when you want to control the look of the whole thing, you're going to be editing the MadCap dropdown style. Now click in here again. Now right within that is the MadCap dropdown head, and that is controlling everything on this line, that line at the top that has the head. Then under that, there's the MadCap dropdown body, and that is all the stuff under the head. And then if I click on that hotspot area, you're going to see up here, because this is inline, MadCap dropdown hotspot. So remember, I could have had text, outside of this. And so that's not part of the hotspot, the stuff that I just typed, the stuff that's inside these brackets here, because I have my markers turned on here. And so that's why I'm able to see those brackets, and that kind of helps me a little bit there to see what's going on. Let's undo that. Let's get rid of this text in here. All right, so those are the pieces. Now you just want to be able to edit these. So there's all kinds of things that you could do to change the look of it. And I'll do a few things just to kind of make it look a little bit similar to the other one that we were looking at. Maybe not exactly like it, but similar. So that might include the heading, this head size or the color. I might want to change the image that is shown next to the hotspot. Instead of that little arrow, I might want to use same thing as the plus and minus buttons, whether it's open or closed. I might want to change the margins and padding, and then add a border maybe down at the bottom like the other one had. So what I like to do is I will use these structure bars, and I deleted that thing. I'm going to right click this and select Style Class, Edit Style Class. And that opens up my style sheet exactly to that spot. You can see this is my style, MadCap dropdown, and you can see the others in here. And if you don't want to see all the other stuff in here, you can actually use this filter and go to Dynamic Effects, and that gets rid of a lot of it. So you see these other MadCap styles in here, but at least you're not seeing everything. Okay, so I've got MadCap dropdown in here. And if I look over on the right, so I have certain filters set in here, certain settings. I'm looking at things in alphabetical view, but I could click this to go into group view. And then I have this filter set to show me things that are already set. And that's a really nice thing to have. Or you can select all properties if you want to see everything, which might be a little overwhelming, but if you're hunting for a lot of things, you can use that, or assorted relevant properties. And that's MadCap's way of saying, hey, we think these are the main things you're going to want to change. I'm going to go back to set properties. These are the things that I have set, and I'm going to go back to alphabetical view, just easier for me to see. These are the things I got set. Okay, MC closed image. This is when the drop down is not clicked, everything's condensed. What's the little image that is shown next to it? Well, in this case, it was that arrow. But let's say I want to use the plus and minuses from that other project. So I'm actually going to do something here. I'm going to open up Windows, and I'm going to borrow from that. Let's see here. I'm going to borrow the images from that other one, or I'm not going to borrow them. I'm going to steal them. So this one, I believe, yeah, this is the template that has the images in it. And I want that minus and that plus. I'm going to hold down my control key, copy those. I'm going to go into here in my current project, resources. I don't even have an images folder yet. I can just add it in here in Windows. Okay, if I didn't add it already in Flare, and I'll open that up and paste these things inside. Okay, so now I have access to those images right here in my project, the minus and the plus. So I want the plus one to be associated with this closed image property over here. So I'm just going to click this, and it opens up this dialog, and I just go find that plus button, click OK. And down here, the MC Open Image, I'm going to take the default out and I'm going to use minus there. Okay, so I've already changed that. And you might just want to look through these and see, okay, is there anything else that I want to change? The alt text is that's the alternate text that's shown, for that state when it's closed. Do you want it to say closed or do you want it to say open? What kind of spacing do you want around the image? That sort of thing. I'm going to leave all of those alone. And so that's how I'm going to change right now for the drop down. I might come back to that in a bit. Let's look and see what else we want to do. Well, we know we want to change the hotspot. Let's change the font. Let's make it bigger, bold, and let's get rid of the green. So we want to go to the hotspot, MadCap drop down hotspot. Okay, so there's the green. Let's go in here and let's just pick like a dark gray. Okay. And the cursor is a hand. That's fine when it hovers over it. Italic, I don't really want italic. Let's make this normal. Text decoration doesn't have any in here. Now, it doesn't have everything listed in here because that we want to change. These are just the things that are set. When you have certain filters chosen in the style sheet editor, it's really nice you get this little add property field in here, not for all the filters, but for this one you do. And I know I want to change the font weight. Over time, you'll learn what these things are named. If you don't know for sure, you can select it from here, or you can just type it in. And I'm going to change the font weight. I want to make this thing bold. There it is. And font size is the other thing I want to change. So I'll just type it in this time. Font size, and let's make this thing 20 points. All right, and let's save this thingy. Go back. All right, so we're making progress here. Do we want to change anything on the head otherwise? Okay, well, maybe not. Maybe we're fine with that. Go back. There's nothing set on it, really. It's inheriting a couple of things, but let's leave that for now. We could change it if we decide later we want to change that entire line to something. The body, okay. What if we indented it some? So when we talk about indentation, we're talking about either margins or padding. And if you don't understand the difference between margins and padding, think of like an invisible box around some content. And so if I put a border on that style, that invisible border around it, then you would see it. You would see the line around it. And so padding is anything from the text, from the content to that border, whether it's all around it or the left, right, top, bottom. And then margin is this extra spacing outside of that invisible rectangle. Okay, so let's say that I want to just shift this thing in, and I'm going to do it on the, I'll decide to do it on the margin. I want the margin left to be something. So MadCap drop down body is what we want. Let's go right there. There's nothing set on it yet. So I can just go in and either type or select. You go down, and if you're not sure, how it's spelled or anything, then you just go down and look for it. You go, do I want the margin on everything? No, I just want the left. So margin left, and let's make this 20 pixels and see if we notice a difference. Save that. And there, it's shifted it in some. Now, another thing that we might want to do is add the border to the bottom. And okay, we have a choice here. We could put the border on our drop-down body, but then that border is going to be shifted in. And so I believe so. Or we could put it on the entire thing, the drop-down. So let's put it first. Let's try it on the body. Let's do border bottom. All right. And then we go in here, and let's say we want this, and we just want it to be kind of a light gray. All right. And let's go see what happened there. And so, yeah, so you can see the line, it's shifted in with everything else because it's on that style. All right. So maybe you think, I don't want that. I want the border to be kind of out to the edge. So let's undo this change. All right, and let's go to our MadCap dropdown, the big, the main style, and let's do our border bottom. Right there, there's a lot of settings that you could set on this. And let's go in here, and again, let's make it 1 pixel wide. Let's make it light gray, and let's save it and see how it looks. All right, so okay, so I selected a darker color in 1 pixel. All right, and it's just there actually is something else going on in here. All right, so what is that border on the bottom? One of the things that I'll sometimes, because you can see the one that I added is underneath it. So I must have done something else in here. And one of the things that I'll sometimes do is go look at the style inspector, go to home ribbon, formatting window, and I can go and see what is set on this. And so we've got this border bottom on the drop down body still. It didn't get rid of that. Yeah, I didn't undo all the way. So what I can do in here is just go 0. So this is another way to work with it, right? So the main style sheet's going to give you everything. And this just kind of lets you hone in on just the little parts. And that's really, really nice to be able to do. Okay, so I just saw something that was confusing me for a second, went in and saw, oh, that's what it is. Solved it. Now, the other thing here is maybe I want a little bit of spacing here. I want some padding now because I got this border here, but it's a little snug up against that. So let's go and let's that border bottom, and so the drop down right here, let's add some padding in here to the bottom. Or we could just add padding all the way around it. And we could do 10 pixels. All right, save it. There we go, that looks better. Okay, now I could add more drop downs below this if I want. One thing that you could do is you could just maybe right click on this and copy this and paste it below. If you want to, let's say that I didn't have this text down here and go, oh, I want to add more content now below it. How do I do that? Well, sometimes what's good to do is get your cursor on the very bottom, and you can see the structure bar is highlighted up here, and just start pressing your down arrow. You can see other things that are the structure bars that are selected until you get to body, and then press enter. And now you're starting out all new. You can type whatever you want. All right, so that is probably the main things that you're going to want to do for editing a drop down. And let's just real quickly here build the thing and see how it looks in the output. So there it is. That looks pretty good. Okay, kind of similar to what we have on the other one. So you look at this and you might want to make some tweaks. You go, oh, I want the margin to be even more inside, and so you can do that. But that gives you an idea of how you're going to use styles to edit the look and feel of your drop downs. Okay, so by now, maybe you're looking at this going, okay, I like drop downs. Maybe I want to add those into my project and use those. Well, that's great. Drop downs are great, but there are some things that you should know. And so that's what I want to talk about in this little section. First of all, if you are using drop downs and you have search in your online output, just know that search isn't going to find the text things that are in drop downs that are collapsed. They have to be expanded in order for search to find that. And so let me actually open this output up and show you. This is our little example here, and you can see this is collapsed, and I can expand it and see, okay, there's more text in here. Let's say that somebody opens up this topic and they want to use this little feature in here in the browser to find something, and they want to look for drop down, the word drop down. So I'm going to select that and go to find, and I'm going to type drop down, and you can see that it found this one, but it's only found one of one. It's not getting that stuff below. Now, if I expand this and Yeah, so I start typing it again, and you can see it's found all of them. All right, so that's just something that you need to consider. You can make it easy for if you have a topic that has a lot of drop downs in it, you can make it easier for your users to just expand all of these at once, and that could also help them find things easier if they could just expand all of this. So the way that you would do that is to add a button. You would add an expand and collapse button, and you do that using a topic toolbar proxy. Let me show you really quick how to do that. You're kind of getting a lesson within a lesson in here. That's the wrong project. There we go. All right, I'm going to close this, get a little bit more space in here. So when you're adding buttons, you want to add those typically into template pages, and I'm going to add a template pages folder in here because I don't have one yet, like that. So a template page is really nice because I can just add content that I want on all of my pages. Right click this and select new, and I want a template page. And in this, I'm going to select the template page template up here and just give it this name, template page, doesn't matter. Click add, and it's going to add this file in here, and it's got all these proxies that are these gray bars for different things. And I'm going to clean this up. Even though these are cool things to have, I'm going to get rid of some of these so that we can just focus on what's important. You have to have the topic body proxy in there, because that is what's going to actually show all of the content that's in your topics. And then I also have this topic toolbar proxy that's in here. And right now it's underneath the topic body proxy. And I could take this out and show you how to insert this from scratch. I want to insert it above. So you can see my cursor is flashing here horizontally. Press my up arrow, up key on my keyboard. And then I can go to insert, and over on the right, proxy. And where is it? There's topic toolbar proxy. And this is asking me for a skin. And I don't have one yet, a skin, not a main skin, not a big skin, because you might be creating skinless output, especially if you're doing something like e-learning. But you can have these little skin components, and that is going to help me control the look and feel of my button. Boy, I'm really going off on a tangent here from dropdowns, but this is important to add these expand collapse buttons. That's why I'm going through this. Now you could select the buttons in here, but I like to do it from the skin component, which we haven't gotten yet. We'll add it. And the reason is because if I add it in the skin component, you have more control over it. So I'm going to click OK. There's our topic toolbar proxy. Now in the project organizer, I'm going to come over to skins. And you can see I've got some skins in here, and I'm going to add a new one, but I'm going to add this little skin component, topic toolbar. That's what I want. And I'm give it any name I want. I'll name it toolbar, click add. And here's where I can control everything about it. I can go to the setup ribbon and go, okay, what buttons do you want in here? Well, this says previous topic, next topic. I could get rid of these just like that. And I could go, or if you want to keep them, you can. I'm going to double click expand all, which will then convert to collapse all when, when the person clicks it. All right. And then you can go in here and you can change different things. You could change the look of the buttons if you want. So that's why you want to use this skin component. Now in here, so I want that. Let's add another one. Let's add a print button just for reference so you can see what's going on. And the other thing is we want to control, let's say that we want the toolbar. By default, it's going to be on the left. So this is a preview. It's showing me, okay, this is where the toolbar would be. It'd be up in the upper left corner. Let's say I want it on the right side. So that's another thing I could do. Okay, I'm going way into this just to show you this one thing. Now I'm going to go back into this template page, right click this, say edit topic toolbar proxy. And I've only got one toolbar skin component in there, so it'll use it, but I'm going to select it anyway. That. And I want to make sure that this template page is being used for my output for all that stuff. So I'm actually going to open up my, let's see, what target do I have? I am going to open up my target in here, this HTML5 one, and it is using, it'll use the first skin it comes to, which is side navigation. I want to come down here to advanced, and I'm going to select my template page. Make sure that I've got that toolbar in there, and I'm going to build my output, and let's see what happens here. It should show me that the buttons in the upper right corner, and it should allow me to expand and collapse it from there. So there it is. There's my toolbar. So imagine I've got 50 of these drop downs in here. And I click this, expands, and it would do all of them. It would expand or collapse all of them at the same time. Okay, that was a lot. Might be more than you signed up for, but that's just a handy thing to have for drop downs. Now, the other thing I want to point out with drop downs is I've been talking about online output. What if you generate PDF from the same files and you got drop downs in there? What's going to happen is this drop down, it'll just flatten. It's just going to be text, of course. And when you open up a PDF, you're not clicking, expanding, collapsing. You will see the content unless you condition it out, but you will see the content, but it's just going to be plain content, right? All right. The other thing I want to talk to you about is this idea of unbind. So we can stay in here in this other project where we've got a couple of drop downs. So let's say that you have these drop downs in here and you go, I don't really want this to be a drop down anymore. How do you get rid of it? Well, it's the same thing that happens for a lot of features in Flare. It's this idea called unbind. And all that means is it's going to remove the tags. So I can right click on the outer MadCap drop down tag and select, where is it? Unbind drop down text. Now it's just plain paragraphs, right? It's the same thing for other, like I've got this span in this note to control the look there. And I could say unbind and it removes that. It just removes that. So that's just a little lesson for anything, but it is, you can use it for drop downs too to unbind things. All right, those are the things that I just wanted you to consider if you are wanting to add drop downs to your project. All right, so now you know about drop downs. You know how to create them. You know what outputs will support them. You know that if you want, you can go do togglers or expanding text instead of or in addition to your drop downs. And you know about the different parts of a drop down, the main tag that's going to control the whole thing, and then the head and the body and the hotspot, you know, so you can go in there and change whatever you want. And then keep those things in mind that I talked about. The fact that if you're going to do this, things have to be expanded in order to get allow people to find them on a page. And you can add the topic toolbar buttons to expand and collapse, and print output's going to flatten. So all that stuff. So now that you kind of added this knowledge to your brain bank, you can go out and create all the drop downs that you want. Thank you for watching this video. We will talk to you next time.